She woke me up by kicking the laundry basket and muttering that my socks were everywhere. Not a good morning. Not a kiss. Not even a hey. Just a tally of what I did wrong before coffee. She tugged my sweatshirt off the chair, held it like a piece of evidence. Why is this hanging here again? It's a chair. Chairs do that. I answered, sitting up. They support tired fabric and tired husbands. Not funny, she clipped. Start the washer. And your travel mug, stop leaving it in the sink. I'm not your maid. News to me. I thought you were my wife. She ignored it, walked to the mirror, checked her phone, smiled at the screen, and angled it away when I looked up. The smile disappeared when she caught my reflection. Routine. Lately, everything felt like routine, except the part where she smiled at someone I couldn't see. If I'd known where it was headed, I would have stretched that moment out, just to appreciate how loud the quiet had become. I met Emma 10 years earlier. We'd built a calm life in a split level out in Maple Ridge, small town traffic, neighbors who waved with the whole arm. I run project crews for a manufacturing company. Schedules and margins are my day job. Her gig was marketing. She used to tell me about her campaigns, about the tone of a caption like it was life and death. I used to listen. Now she talked to her phone more than to me. By breakfast, she'd flip the TV on low and flip me off emotionally. I brewed coffee. She scrolled. I set a mug in front of her. Thanks, she said to the table. You're working late again tonight? I asked. Probably. How late is probably? She looked past me. Depends. I let the spoon ring against the mug. On who? On the team. She stood, kissed the top of my head, a quick, sterile thing, and grabbed her bag. Try not to make a mess. Try not to forget you're married, I said without heat. She paused, then chuckled like I'd told a joke I didn't understand, and left. The silence after the door shut felt like someone took furniture out of the room. At work, my lead tech mic tapped the doorframe of my office. Big guy, bigger opinions, collection of ugly trucker caps for every day of the week. You good, he asked. Define good. You're answering emails with one word. That's not your brand. Domestic weather, I told him. Storm watch or tornado on the ground. Hush, just a storm. I checked the clock. She'd send a got time text around noon if she needed something from me. She didn't. That night, she came home past midnight. She slipped off shoes like a thief and padded toward the guest bath. I was on the couch, lamp on, not dramatic. Just there. Hey, I said. She froze. Oh, you're up. Where were you? She didn't flinch, not really. She placed her phone face down on the console, like it might misbehave. Work. I told you. Past midnight. It happens. With who? With the team, she repeated, like I was slow. Which team, Em? Major League? Farm team? The Do Not Disturb team? Her mouth twitched. Are you actually accusing me of something? Because paranoid isn't a good color on you. Then help me pick a better one. Details. Names. A timeline. God, you're exhausting. She palmed her phone, glanced at the screen, and the smallest smile flicked up before she buried it. We had a deliverable. I'm going to shower. No. You're going to look me in the eye and tell me what's going on. She rolled her eyes so high I thought they might stay there. Nothing is going on. You're making drama because you can't stand that I'm busy. I like busy. I live in busy. Busy returns calls. Busy doesn't hide in bathrooms. Her patience evaporated. I'm not doing this. I'm beat. I didn't block her path or raise my voice. I learned long ago that volume was cheap and told the world you'd lost the plot. I said, tomorrow, Emma, you and I will talk like adults. If there's nothing to say, it'll be the shortest conversation we ever had. She gave me a long look and vanished down the hall. The shower came on. The question marks came with it. I slept for maybe 2 hours. Woke up to her slipping into bed at 3-something in the morning. She smelled like a hotel lobby. Too clean, too neutral. She turned her back to me. The space between us was new construction. By the end of the week, her late nights were routine. When I asked for specifics, she grew colder. When I stopped asking, she made little jokes about me not caring. The rules moved like goalposts in a high wind. Saturday, I laid out a boundary under the neutral light of noon. No threats, just a change in the schedule. Listen, I told her in the kitchen. I'm not available for undefined nights anymore. I'm shifting my schedule. I'll be up at 5, at the gym by 6, and on site by 7. The front door will be locked by 10. If you're later than that, text me before 9. If you don't, Sleep elsewhere. She stiffened. You can't be serious. I'm always serious about sleep and respect. This is controlling. Control is asking for a text. Control is a schedule. Chaos is what we've been doing. She laughed, small and mean. You're really jealous, huh? Is that what this is? Call it what you want. Those are the rules. It's not about chasing you. It's about not letting my life hang off a hook next to my own sweatshirt. She didn't like that I wasn't begging. She didn't like that I wasn't yelling either. She threw on a denim jacket and tossed. Fine. Lock your door. I have a key. Not anymore. I slid a small padded envelope onto the counter. New smart locks. Codes changed that morning. And before you get spun up, you've got your code. If you lose that, you text. Boundaries, not bars. She stared at the envelope. Then, the first softening. She reached across the counter and touched my wrist. I'm sorry, okay? Work's just heavy. I was snippy. I'll do better. That'd be good. You believe me? I'll believe your calendar and your arrival time. She pulled back like I'd burned her. So you don't believe me? I believe patterns. She tried to smile. I'll bring home dinner tonight. Your favorite. And I'll be early. Happy. I'll be fine either way. She left that afternoon wearing the jacket I bought her in October. Hadn't worn it once until now. On her way out, she turned. Stop giving me rules. We're adults. We are, I said. That's why I'm keeping mine. By 8:30, I was reading in the living room, a habit I'd picked back up when silence became a roommate. At 9:15, a text, running late. Be back by 10:30, promise. Don't be weird. 10:30 came and went. At 11, I set the deadbolt and went to bed. She knocked at 12:40. I opened. She stood there smiling like she'd won something just by showing up. Don't do this, she said. You're being childish. This is me being rested. I stepped aside. Your code works. Use it next time. She huffed through the hall, dumped her bag on the dining chair, checked her phone. Same little smile at something that wasn't me. Sunday morning, I made a second adjustment. I moved my tools out of the garage bay she used and rolled my motorcycle into her spot. When she got home from coffee with a friend, she hit the opener and stopped short. What is this? She pointed like the bike had offended her personally. New arrangement, I said. My weekends are mine. I'm reclaiming the workspace. Park on the street or in the driveway. You're punishing me. I'm reorganizing. My tolerance for chaos isn't what it used to be. She jabbed a finger toward the curb. You know the HOA hates street parking. Then get home before 9 and we'll trade spots. Or you can take the driveway. Plenty of room for a car and whatever other schedule keeps you smiling at your phone. The paranoia is embarrassing, she said. For you. Mike caught me at lunch on Monday. We sat in the break room with microwave leftovers and a radio that never tuned right. Still storming, he asked. My forecast changed, I said. I set rules. She didn't care. Then what? I'm hiring someone. Divorce counsel? He raised an eyebrow. A professional observer. He whistled. You sure? I'm sure I'm done guessing. There's a private investigator who does quiet work in our county. Retired cop, steady hands. Calls himself Dan like he's trying to disappear. I called him from the parking lot. What do you need to know? He asked through the line, voice like gravel. Where she is when she says she's at work. Who she's with. Basic schedule. Got a photo? A car description? Places she claims to be. I gave him everything. He didn't judge, didn't comfort. He took notes. How soon? Start tonight, I said. I want clean facts, not stories. 2 days, he said. You'll have a first pass. Keep your routine. Don't spook the subject. I kept my routine. I cooked for myself, ate alone, added 2 exercises to my lift just to burn the hum out of my bones. She breezed in one night at 1:30 and decided to be charming. Hey, I grabbed you this, she said, holding out a paper bag. Pumpkin pie from that place you like. Thought of you. Thanks, I said, and put it in the fridge. She stayed near the doorway like she might need an exit. You've been cold, she tried, voice soft. I don't like it when you shut down. Then stop giving me reasons to. I poured water into a glass, set it down with a quiet click. You said you'd be home by 10:30. We lost track. Who's we? You don't need names, she said sweetly. Just trust me. I trust calendars. That's not trust. That's accountability. She rolled her eyes. You're always so literal. At least I'm consistent. She stepped closer, put a hand on my chest. How about we reset, okay? New week. How about you show your schedule before midnight? She withdrew, smile gone. You're impossible. She went to shower. I listened to the water and thought about all the things people wash off when they don't want to talk. 2 days later, at 11 a.m., a text pinged my phone. From Dan. I have first evidence. Meet. He sent an address of a diner near the river. I took lunch early, told Mike to cover a call, and went. Dan was already in a booth with a black coffee and the face of a man who's seen the same story 100 times. He slid a plain folder across the table without ceremony. Inside, photos. My wife walking into a restaurant with a man I didn't know. Hands too close. Exit 2 hours later, no rush. Another night, her car parked at a townhouse across town. Same man on the stoop, exchanging a look like a secret handshake. A third night, hotel bar downtown, her head tipped as she listened to him, that small smile visible in bad lighting. Timestamps. Location notes. Enough to fill in the blanks. Dan spoke low. She's not careful, but she's not reckless. Pattern. Tuesday, Thursday, occasional Sunday. He's married. Envelope has details. You want texts too? I got screenshots. No, I said. I don't need to read their jokes. You'd be surprised how many do. I'm not most people. He nodded. What you do with it is your business. You need counsel, I can point. I know someone. I paid the bill. Dan stood, shook my hand like a foreman signing off on a job. Don't burn yourself down, he said. Burn the plan, not the house. The plan wrote itself on the way to my truck. I called a number from the envelope. The man's wife picked up on the second ring. Grace? I asked. Yes. Who is this? A stranger with something ugly and necessary. My name is Mark. I think we need to meet. Today. There was a pause, a little intake of breath, the sound of a calendar being rearranged inside her head. Where? City Park. Noon. The bench near the pond. She arrived in a gray coat with her hair pulled back like she was working a checklist. She looked around, saw me, came straight. You're Mark, she said. I am. This better not be a prank. I wish it were. I handed her a copy of 2 photos. She didn't blink. She looked, then looked away, then looked again to make sure her eyes weren't inventing things. How long? She asked. Long enough to be familiar. She exhaled and Saturday. I told myself it was all in my head. We both did. She stared at the pond, the ducks skidding on the surface like they didn't care about human disasters. What are you going to do? End the contract, I said. Quietly. Cleanly. You're composed. Anger is a bad project manager. She gave a half laugh that wasn't happy. Do you have counsel? I do. Use mine if you want. He's good. He told me not to telegraph anything until the papers were ready. Money moved. Access changed. Logistics first, then emotions. I like that, she said. Logistics first. We exchanged numbers. I gave her my attorney's information. She took it like it was a life jacket someone finally tossed. I walked her to her car. Neither of us broke down. We didn't have to. The facts did the breaking for us. Back home, I initiated a resource split. I created new accounts, moved my paycheck deposit, canceled cards that had both our names. I set up an expense schedule for the household items we still shared and emailed it to her. What I'd cover, what I wouldn't. Clear, non-negotiable. I changed the cloud passwords and took my name off her streaming services so she couldn't accuse me of watching anything in common. I wasn't petty. I was thorough. That evening, Emma breezed in early for the first time in a while, carrying takeout. She set it down and announced, I thought we could eat together. Sure, I said. We ate. Small talk about nothing. Halfway through, she tried the second softening. She put her hand over mine. I miss us, she murmured. You've been so distant. I noticed. I want to fix it. Then bring me your calendar for the last 2 weeks. She pulled back. You can't be serious. I don't joke about time. You're impossible, she repeated. I try and you. You perform and I respond. I corrected. You lost access to my time and my accounts. New phase. She stared. Wait, what? Read your email. She grabbed her phone, scrolled, and went pale. You changed everything. I clarified everything. Bills I'll cover are listed. The rest is on you. My finance manager has the details. He'll handle any questions. You have a finance manager now? I am my finance manager, I said. Don't dramatize a spreadsheet. This is punitive. This is me not funding confusion. She pushed the food away like it suddenly tasted wrong. We're not done. You can't just change everything. I can. I did. If you want different terms, you bring evidence that we're on the same page. Until then, we run my plan. She tried to stare me down. I'd stopped playing that game. The next 2 days, she was syrupy nice. Morning texts with hearts. A coffee left on my truck hood with a note. For your early start. It wasn't awful. It also wasn't real. I let it pass through me like air. My attorney messaged, docs ready by Friday. I recommend discretion. Serve after you confirm facts in person. You okay? I replied, better than okay. Thursday, Grace texted me. He told me he's working late. Again. I answered, mine too. You free for a brief meet? We met at a quiet bar near the old train depot. She looked composed. I probably looked like a man organizing a move. Thank you for connecting me with counsel, she said. He was efficient. He likes checklists. She took a breath. What's your plan for disclosure? Not a fight. A statement. Then a signature. My lawyer asked me not to preview anything. But I want you to know, I won't blow this up at work or online or any place that makes it spectacle. I appreciate that. We talked like coworkers stuck in a bad project. Then we didn't talk about them at all. We talked about our jobs, our dumb kitchen remodels, the way it's hard to make new friends after 40 if you don't play golf. When we paid the tab, she touched my sleeve. I'm sorry you're here, she said. I'm not staying, I answered. Friday, I picked up the packet from my attorney's office. He was a compact man who appreciated direct clients. You understand the terms, he said, pointing with a capped pen. You've already moved your income. Keep your messaging neutral. No name calling. No public scenes. It's better for you. No worries, I told him. I'm not in the demolition business. He slid a second packet across the desk. For the other spouse if she wants it. I've drafted both. Optional. I left with both packets, put them in my truck, and stared at the steering wheel. I sent Grace a message, papers in hand. She replied with a single check mark. That night, I was driving back from a site check with the documents on the passenger seat and Grace in the truck. We'd planned to swing by my place so I could grab a few financial records I'd forgotten. Nothing dramatic, just signatures and files. We walked inside and stopped because she was there, Emma, and the man from the photos, in my living room, on my couch, like a punchline nobody needed. They turned toward us, startled, then overconfident. He smirked. She let out a laugh that tried to be brave and failed. And what exactly are you going to do? Emma asked, chin up. I set the packet on the console table, slow, measured. I'm going to finish what I started. The man crossed his arms. Relax, man. I looked past him to the coat rack, where my old baseball cap hung. I nudged it straight. Grace stepped from my side and lifted her phone. The shutter sound was soft. She took a photo, then another. Our counsel will need that, she said to Emma. No heat, just accuracy. The smirk slid off both faces. Emma's voice shifted. Wait, this is not what it looks like. It looks like exactly what it is, I replied. And no one's going to yell. We're just going to complete the paperwork. I don't have to sign anything tonight, she snapped. You're right, I said. You can sign tomorrow at 9 at the office, or now at the table. Either works. But as of this minute, your access to the house is limited to what you can carry in one trip. I'll move the rest into the garage tomorrow for pickup. You won't be staying here tonight. Her eyes went wide. You're kicking me out. I'm concluding a contract. This isn't a lease. It's a life. You vacated it a while ago. The man cleared his throat. You can't talk to her like that. I just did. I turned to him. You don't belong in my house. You'll leave now. And you'll avoid me in public places because we're nothing to each other. He took a step like he had something to prove. I didn't move. I didn't need to. People who need to posture depend on reactions. I offered none. Grace raised her phone again, and he pivoted to the door. Emma tried one more tone. Soft. Mark, listen. Please. I was confused. I swear I was going to talk to you. We can fix this. I opened the folder, pulled the first page, and set it on the table with a pen. Read it. Don't read it. Sign it or don't. But the timeline moved. She just stared. I took 2 bank envelopes from the console and slid one toward her. Cards you used that had my name, canceled. Accounts, separated. I've removed your access to the household cloud. Use the list I emailed if you want to split anything. You can't be serious. she said again, like the word was a spell. I'm boringly serious. I nodded at the door. Go. She tried to stand her ground. Grace stood with me, not behind me. That seemed to be the part that punctured Emma's balloon. She grabbed her bag, her coat, and the man followed like a shadow that didn't know where to stand. At the door, she turned back. You'll regret this, she hissed. No one will put up with you. Good, I said. I'm done being something to put up with. They left. The door clicked. The house exhaled. Grace and I didn't high-five or dance. We sat at the table. I pulled the rest of the records and signed where my attorney had flagged. I gave Grace her packet. Your lawyer's going to like those photos, I said. She nodded. You handled that clean. Messy is a choice, I answered. I'm tired of other people's mess. We walked out together. The porch light caught the look on her face. Tired, relieved, not broken. We drove to her place, dropped her off. She touched my arm before getting out. You okay? I will be, I said. I'm already halfway there. When I got home, the house felt bigger. I slept like a human. By Saturday afternoon, the first round of calls and texts started. Emma, then unknown numbers, then a blocked line. I let the phone do its job. I met Mike at his friend's garage to pick up some tools I'd loaned out. Looks like you made a decision, he said when I told him the basics without the soap opera. I made a schedule, I replied. The kind that keeps me sane. You need anything? He asked. I'm good. Sunday night, Grace messaged. He moved out of the townhouse. It's done. I wrote back. Good. Monday morning, I found Emma on the porch when I left for the gym. She looked smaller in a jacket that suddenly seemed too big. She had a duffel bag like a prop. I need to talk, she said. We did. I answered, locking the door behind me. I'm out of cash, she said. I can't get a room. I just need a few nights. Please. You have family, I replied. They're far, she said. You're right here. You made far, I said. That's not on me. She tried a different angle. I can change. You already did. I looked past her at the street. My rules still stand. I'm not your net. Tears came. They didn't move me. Not because I'm heartless. Because I'm done. I'll do anything, she whispered. We can go to counseling. We can reset. Just don't shut me out. He's gone. He dropped me. I have nothing. That's not true, I said. You have your choices. Go put them to work. I paused. One more thing. Don't come by unannounced again. Text if it's about logistics. Otherwise, we leave each other alone. She stared past me, and for the first time in months, there was no performance. Just a person facing the bill. Before she turned, a woman's voice came from behind me. Everything okay? Grace asked from my doorway. She'd come by early so we could deliver final docs to counsel. Timing's a funny thing. Emma saw her and understood in 1 second that her old life didn't live here anymore. She looked at me, then at Grace, then back. No scene. No threat. She nodded once, a tiny bow to reality, and left. I closed the door. Grace leaned against the wall. You sure you're okay? I'm more than okay, I said. I'm done negotiating my own dignity. We dropped the papers at the attorney's office. He stamped things, filed things, gave us timelines. Keep your communications neutral, he reminded me. You're doing well. I'm not interested in conversation, I told him. I'm interested in closure. A week later, the signatures were complete. There was no courtroom, no public theater. Just a notary's stamp and a choice coming full circle. That night, I took Grace to a small restaurant with a chalkboard menu. We didn't toast anything. We ordered food and talked about the project she was handling at her company, about my crew's new machine we were integrating next quarter. We laughed, because sometimes life gets lighter once you stop carrying people who aren't walking with you. When the plates were cleared, I leaned back. You know what I want to celebrate? I asked. What? That I'm not mad, I said. I thought I would be, but I'm not. I'm just done. She smiled at that, a real one. Done is underrated. We drove through our quiet neighborhood with the windows cracked an inch. I stopped in front of my driveway, then kept rolling. Where are we going? She asked. Nowhere. I just realized I don't need to rush home. The house will be exactly the way I left it. That's new. She laughed softly. That's a good new. Weeks passed. Grace and I spent more time together. Not fast, not reckless. Just steady. She has a dry sense of humor and a way of listening that makes you hear yourself better. When she walks into a room, she doesn't try to own it. She just belongs. You notice the difference when you've been in a room with someone who treated your presence like a placeholder. I rebuilt my mornings. Gym. Coffee in a clean kitchen. Calm. I rebuilt my weekends. The bike took the long road. The garage stopped being a storage unit for someone else's errands and turned back into a workshop. I fixed the squeaky cabinet hinge that had bugged me for a year because I finally cared about the sound of my own house again. In the middle of all that, rumors drifted back through friends. Emma had moved in with her parents 2 counties over. A mutual acquaintance mentioned debt, a project that didn't pay out, a job she left because the environment was toxic. Her words, not mine. The man from the photos had found someone new inside a month. It fit. People who treat life like a game always look for the next match. Grace and I took a trip to the lake one Saturday. Nothing fancy. Sandwiches, a cooler, a blanket, and the kind of quiet you earn. She watched a kid try to fly a kite with its tail knotted up. The father came over, untied it, handed it back, patient as a man can be. The kite went up. The kid laughed. We didn't say a word. Later, on the drive back, she said, "Do you miss it? The routine, the couple rituals." "I miss the version of myself who thought proximity equals partnership." I answered. "I don't miss pretending. I don't miss being graded before breakfast." "Fair," she said. "Move in with me," I said at a red light. No speech. No preamble. She looked over, surprised, then thoughtful. "You sure?" "I don't do things I'm not sure of. We'll do it slow. Keep our names clean. Keep our rules clear. But I'm done living with empty chairs." She smiled, nodded. "Okay." She moved in at the end of the month. She brought books and a lamp that throws a warm circle on the wall. She didn't bring drama. My place became our place without a fight. Neighbors noticed and waved with both arms again. The day I finally moved the last of Emma's boxes from the garage to the curb for pickup, I sent her a single text. "Your items are on the curb until 5 p.m. After that, they go to donation." She replied, "Thanks." No heart. No theater. She didn't show. I donated them. The house didn't feel guilty. It felt right-sized. Now when mornings come, they don't start with an indictment. They start with coffee and a quiet that doesn't accuse me of existing. Sometimes Grace leaves me a sticky note on the counter with a dumb drawing of a hammer because she knows I like to fix small things after work. Sometimes I leave her a note that says, "Dinner's in the fridge," because her late meetings are the real kind. We don't police each other's time. We account for it. Whole different sport. Once, months later, Emma texted a paragraph. It began with, "I heard you're doing well." It ended with, "I'm sorry." I read it, said nothing, and deleted it. Not out of spite. Out of respect for the life I built after I stopped negotiating with someone who couldn't decide if I was a partner or an obstacle. There's a photo on our fridge now. It's not of a trip or a sunset. It's a picture Grace took of me in the garage, hands on a piece of wood I was turning into a table. I'm not smiling like a commercial. I'm just focused. Calm. Present. She says it's her favorite because it looks like peace. I think it looks like a man who finally lives by his own rules. People ask if I'd do anything differently. Sure. I'd set my boundaries earlier, not because they would have changed her, but because they would have kept me from losing time to a story I wasn't writing. I'd noticed that when someone laughs at you instead of with you, you're not in a relationship. You're in a performance review you didn't sign up for. The last words I said to Emma, standing in that doorway weeks ago, still feel like the right ending. She told me I'd regret it. I told her, "Good. I'm done being something to put up with." It wasn't clever. It wasn't loud. It was the truest thing I could think of. If there's a lesson in it, it's boring and adult. Change your schedule, not your character. Move your money. Guard your time. Keep your rules where you can see them. When someone treats your life like a hallway they cut through on the way to where they really want to be, lock your door and live in your living room again. I don't know where Emma is now, not exactly. Friends say she's trying to reset, that her parents help where they can, that the man from the photos found his next audience. I don't wish them harm. I wish them clarity. That's the expensive part, and I already paid for mine. I pull into my driveway in a truck that actually gets washed now. Grace is on the porch with 2 mugs, feet tucked under her. She looks up, not at a screen, not toward some shadow down the block, but at me. It's not magic. It's a simple recognition that I'm real and present and not an afterthought. I walk up the steps, take a mug, and sit. "Good day," she asks. "Yeah," I say. Best one so far. And here's the part that would have shocked me a year ago. Tomorrow will probably be even better. Not because someone promised it would. Because I set it up that way. Because I finally chose the quiet that comes from decisions you don't have to apologize for. Because when the door closes at night, it's not to keep anyone out. It's to keep this in.